As ever, Meghan Markle is a business disaster. As ever, Meghan Markle is prepared to exploit her so-called children for financial gain. As ever, Meghan Markle's husband is a pawn in her failed attempt to take over the world. And as ever, we see through it. We were first before the mainstream media. And goodness me, isn't this a joy to behold such a failure? Let me bring in Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network. Now, Brittany, so much to discuss on this, of course, but first, let's put ourselves through Meghan's Instagram announcement of the fact that American Riviera Orchard is no more because she mucked up and watched the sensational spin, which of course is filmed by her little man-baby assistant. Oh, no, sorry, actually, it's her husband, Prince Harry. Watch.
It's recording.
Okay. Cat's out of the bag. I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long. In 2 weeks, my show is coming out, which I'm so excited for. And also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about.
Why is she whispering?
Last year, I had thought, you know what, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name. It's my neighborhood. It's a nickname for Santa Barbara. But it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area. Then Netflix came on, not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business, which was huge. So I thought about it. And I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022. And this is the moment. And it's called As Ever. As Ever essentially means as it's always been. And if you followed me since 2014 with the TIG, you know I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening. This is what I do. And I haven't been able to share it with you in the same way for the past few years, but now I can. So as things are starting to trickle out there, I wanted you to hear it from me first. Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam. But there's so many more products that I just love that I use in my home. And now it's time to share it with you. So I can't wait for you to see it. Thanks, guys.
Oh, my Lord. Where is that sick bucket, Brittany? I always need it for these Instagram videos. But in all seriousness, there is so much to unpick here. Firstly, though, the children, because this is what is really upsetting Prince Harry. If we look at these new images for As Ever, yet again, one of the children in a very weird pose. What on earth is she playing at?
All right, let's start with the first problem. Meghan Markle can't come up with an original idea to save her life. Look at this. Side-by-side comparisons of Meghan's logo and name with brands that have existed for years. Folks, this is corporate bullying. She thought she could just swap in, claim a name, and erase small businesses. And this isn't the first time. She was accused of copying Michelle Obama's mentorship program. She was accused of stealing book ideas for her children's book. She's borrowed speeches and branding from other activists. If Meghan were a true entrepreneur, she'd have a real vision, a real product, and a real brand. Instead, she's just recycling ideas, hoping no one notices. And guess what? People are noticing.
Well, I mean, it's so obvious that her big play here, Dan, is to merch the kids. We always knew this was going to happen at some point because they do need money, they do need cash, and the kids are just an easy avenue for that. But I can't imagine Prince Harry is happy because she's exploiting them to get followers, people to sign up for the emails for this new rebrand for the 12th time, as if this is going to work any better than the first 11. And it's just sort of an epic disaster and train wreck. And I can't, again, look at Harry and how he sees and views the media. And if he can't see that his wife is exploiting their children for profit and gain, I just don't know where you can take him, because he's obviously a huge hypocrite in that way. And you look back to the first product she promoted, which is for the defunct American Riviera Orchard brand, which is jam. Jam, not only can you buy it in the supermarket for super cheap, you can actually make it for super cheap yourself as well. I made it actually last week. It's not that hard. And so there is no original thought here. There seems to be no good or concrete business plan to this entire endeavor. It just seems to be like an absolute mess, is that she's ripping off other people and she has nothing original to offer. Even the video last week that we saw the kids doing the strawberries on the bagels and cream cheese and everything. And people are like, we've seen this 10 times before. It's all over Pinterest or anything that you can find regarding Valentine's Day. So I think when it comes to Netflix investing in her and investing in the show, I think the big drawback is because she has no original ideas. How is this show going to play out? Because so far, we've seen a woman who's just simply copying everybody else and doing it to a lesser degree. And that does not justify a potentially $100 million deal from Netflix.
Of course it doesn't. I mean, this is total desperation in their vision, and it is simply because she managed to befriend Ted Sarandos, the chief executive. That's the only reason she is even getting this opportunity at all. But what's so hilarious, Brittany, is the fact that she is trying to suggest in some way this is a positive thing. Her whole business has fallen apart. This is a completely cack-handed strategy. She was responsible for it as the chief executive. And the only reason she had to change the name was nothing to do with the area. It's because she could not secure an American Riviera trademark.
Yes, 100%. That, Dan, is the actual reason. She's trying to sugarcoat it and massage it. But she launched American Riviera Orchard almost a year ago now. It was March 14th. She launched it. She sent out products related to it. And then all of a sudden she's going, oh, no, it was just too geographically limited. I was like, but that was always the case. So are you telling us you didn't do your proper research into how to run a business based on a geographical location name? That obviously signifies once again that she's not a great business person. This is really just an epic train wreck. And then she's going, well, I secured this name. So it's like, so we're going with plan C or D at this point. I'm unclear about where in the whole cacophony of this disaster where we're standing here with the various names. But it seems like she's just, as so many people I've seen on social media suggest, just keeps throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. And that does not a good business strategy make. It's just an absolute disaster. She can't, I think, get around that. Anybody with half a business sense knows that she really screwed up here. She really, really screwed up.
Of course she did. Of course she did. And the hilarious thing is, Brittany, there was obviously the expected dig at the British royal family. Did you notice that? I haven't been able to do this for years, as if it was such a trauma for her to actually be in the world's most important royal institution where she had an opportunity to genuinely change the world through causes. Now she's going to be pimping herself out to the highest commercial bidder. But yet, of course, it was the royal family trying to silence her again, Brittany, and we should all feel so terrible for her.
Now let's get into the really disgusting part of this mess. And guess what? Prince Harry is not happy. Now let's remember, Prince Harry has spent years saying he wants privacy for his children. He sued the British press over paparazzi photos. He accused the media of ruining his childhood. He demanded that his kids be kept out of the spotlight. No. Meghan is using their names and stories to get attention for her latest brand. So which is it, Harry? Do you want privacy for your kids? Or do you only care when it's convenient?
Oh, the poor soul. I mean, she had to live in palaces and go and do royal engagements and potentially wear gorgeous jewelry. Of course, that was too much of a burden to bear when she wanted to turn a buck. I think it always goes to show that Meghan Markle's sole motivation for marrying Harry, I think, was solely for greed. She wanted to monetize the monarchy. She wanted to monetize her role in it. I think to say anything else is a complete and utter lie. And the thing is, when it comes to her claiming, oh, well, I couldn't do what I wanted, it's like, well, yeah, you could. YouTube exists, social media exists. You wanted to get somebody else to finance it for you because she's too chicken to actually totally invest in it herself. She built the TIG basically from the ground up. Why couldn't she do this on various social media platforms? She had years now. It's 5 years plus since Mexit. She's had 5 years to get her ducks in a row if this was her true vision. But she didn't. This sort of looks hackshot. It looks kind of rushed and put together. I mean, even yesterday, the tab for that website still read Netflix ARO, American Riviera Orchard. So this was sort of a last minute switch. She filmed, I think, the entire show before realizing they were never going to get the trademarks and having to shift the name. This is a complete disaster. Somebody who does not have an actual vision. And I'm sorry, but a lot of companies fail because sometimes people are just solely after the greed and not about seeing that there has to be a vision to this company. And I don't think there is. And that's why I think most likely it'll fail. And also because she's not a well-liked person. So that's not going to work well in her favor at all.
There's no vision whatsoever, Brittany. I mean, all of these assets, for example, are just rehashed from the original American Riviera Orchard shoot. Look at this. The American Riviera Orchard Instagram account still has 596,000 followers and hasn't been updated at all. And when you actually look at the experts in this area, Brittany, all of them are absolutely critical and scathing of Meghan's complete failure. So one source telling the Daily Beast in America, again, a publication that used to be favorable to Meghan Markle, there are only so many relaunches you can do before you start to look ridiculous. Then Mark Bukowski, Britain's leading PR guru and crisis manager, says this isn't an identity crisis, it's a business model. Meghan isn't floundering, she's fluctuating on purpose. The perpetual reinvention, the strategic vagueness, it's all by design. No, it's a TV show. No, it's a jam. No, it's a vague atmospheric brand called As Ever. The more unpredictable she is, the harder it is to take her down. She's not trying to be Goop. She's trying to be a mystery. The product she's selling, endless curiosity about Meghan Markle. So maybe she's not losing control of her narrative. Maybe we are. I'm sorry, Brittany. What absolute rubbish. I like Mark Bukowski, but to try and suggest that this is anything other than a complete disaster because Meghan has lost all her good staff members, has lost anyone who is prepared to stand up to her and tell her that this is an absolute joke because the only people who remain are bullied into oblivion.
Absolutely, Dan. And when you look at this situation as well, she told people to sign up for her website, American Riviera Orchard, just because I'm a journalist. I did. So she gave a false premise. She promoted false products. Basically, this company now is built on a lie. And so what she has done, which is truly detrimental to her business, is lose the faith of her audience. To a certain extent, she said, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm showing you guys jam. I'm showing you this logo. I mean, she did all of this. And then it's like, oops, no, sorry, couldn't get the trademark. So here, you get my third wheel or whatever. And she's asking people to sign up yet again. And I feel like this is just totally a disservice to your audience. I mean, she got 600,000 people to follow her Instagram. And then she's just going to abandon it. I mean, that's insane to me. That is completely and totally insane. I mean, I think she'll just rebrand it to As Ever. But again, it's that whole thing of you promoted something for well over a year. She didn't like do the thing where maybe she dropped it and then didn't do anything with it. She fully on promoted it as if it was going to be a real thing and then just ghosted it when it didn't work and is now telling the audience. And I think most people are just like, I trust her. You know, I would imagine most people trust her a little less now.
If Harry had any backbone, he would stop this now. But instead, he just lets Meghan do whatever she wants. At what point does he wake up? Host reaction. Now let's talk about the reaction from Hollywood. Spoiler alert, it's bad. No one in Hollywood believes in Meghan's business skills. People are saying, it's just another desperate money grab. She has no originality. This brand will fail just like all her other projects. And let's be honest, when Hollywood turns on you, it's over. This isn't the power couple Meghan and Harry imagined. It's a slow-motion career disaster. Meghan Markle is not an entrepreneur, she's a fraud. She stole a business name, ripped off designs, and is using her kids for publicity. And now even Hollywood is laughing at her.
And that's not going to do well for her.
No, of course it's not.
That's not what you want to do as a business.
Why would you buy this product
the distrust?
Apart from absolute curiosity? Also, Brittany, I love that you're charitable. But she didn't get 596,000 followers. Bot farm after bot farm after bot farm. Same with the Meghan account. The Sussex squad are very good at that. She works with agencies that pull the strings. She doesn't get that many that quickly. It is worth having a look at her letter to Britney that we can decode. So she posted, "Some of you may have heard whispers about what I've been creating. In 2 weeks, my series on Netflix launches, but there's something else I've been working on. I'm thrilled to introduce you to As Ever, a brand that I created and have poured my heart into. As Ever means as it's always been, or some even say, in the same way as always. If you've followed along since my days of creating the TIG, you'll know this couldn't be truer for me. This new chapter is an extension of what has always been my love language, beautifully weaving together everything I cherish: food, gardening, entertaining, thoughtful living, and finding joy in the everyday. I will keep sharing behind the scenes tidbits with you here as we ramp up to launch, and I can't wait for you to get your hands on everything we've been creating. Sending lots of love, As Ever, Meghan." Now, this is where Britney, the revelations about her over a number of years, simply do not correlate with the image that she is trying to present to her public. And remember, she needs her public on side now because they want to buy her product, or she needs them to want to buy her product. So how on earth can she have the cheek to talk about a love language of thoughtful living, of finding joy in the everyday, when her own staff, Britney, the people who have been there for her through thick and thin, describe her as the dictator duchess in high heels?
Oh, yes, absolutely. She is just, this whole thing is just an epic train wreck. And she promised these people, if you sign up for my email, you get a seat at the table. And I'm like, but you've kicked people out of the table. Like, we know she's kicked her in-laws out. She's kicked her own family out. So this idea that she's preparing some sort of great table for all of us to gather at is just a complete and total farce. And then you add an addition. She's poured her heart into this. And it's like, but you just changed the name. So obviously you didn't, because you keep changing things when things don't work out quite as well. So you haven't been pouring your whole art into it, because if you had, you wouldn't be making these amateur mistakes in the first place. These mistakes are all completely and utterly amateur and could be totally avoidable. But she didn't avoid them at all. And so she just stepped right into it. So this idea that she's been working on this thing the whole time and everything is just sort of ridiculous. And it's also another terrible brand name, if I'm going to be quite honest. I don't necessarily like this one either. So it's just, this whole thing is just such a mess. And I imagine her poor staff have been just dealing with absolute chaos for the last several weeks, as she, I think, is starting to get a little panicked here. I think Netflix is putting a lot of pressure on her to make sure this is successful. And I think they're seeing the warning signs and going, we're not sure, but they've invested, so they're stuck too. And this thing could be a total and utter disaster.
At some point, even her biggest defenders have to admit, she's not a businesswoman. She's not a leader. She's just a fading celebrity trying to stay relevant. Will As Ever fail just like Meghan's past projects? Is this the final proof that Meghan has no business skills? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe for more.